Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a lazy carb rebuild on this Mantis tiller.
Hey,
Whoa, what are you doing here?
you said mantis.
Well, I thought you were a locust.
No, I am a mantis.
Alright, whatever, let's get started.
I devour my own children.
Well, okay then. First we'll pull off the air filter housing. The air filter here looks good. Then we got two Phillips screws holding the choke assembly on, so we'll remove those. These screws go all the way through the carb, so once they're removed, the carb will be loose. And then we can disconnect the throttle linkage.
Use my laser scalpel to cut it off.
What? No.
Cut it off. Cut it.
No, don't cut it off. This is actually a pretty nice design. You just push the cable down and then slide it out through the slot. For the fuel lines, the return line on top is pretty dried out, and I don't have that size line in stock to replace it, so I'm just going to leave it attached to the carb and pull it out from the fuel tank. The intake line on the bottom is still soft, so I'll disconnect it from the carb with my special hose tool.
That's just a screwdriver.
It's a special tool. I made it from a screwdriver. There's another video on my channel showing how to make one. So now that we have our carb removed and in the vise, I'll take off the 4 screws holding the primer bulb assembly on. Then we'll gently pry this off. On this carb, the primer plate is made out of plastic, so you don't want to damage it prying it off. Here the diaphragm is a little bit stuck on. I'm going to scrape it off gently. I do have a replacement one, but I still like to be careful when removing the old parts. I think this diaphragm is still good. It's not too dried out, but we'll go ahead and replace it anyway. To get the needle valve out, we need to remove this Phillips screw.
Use a number 1 screwdriver on that.
No, even though it's a small screw, a number 1 Phillips doesn't quite fit. We need to use a number 2.
Yes, good old number 2.
A lot of times this screw is boogered up from someone else using the wrong size screwdriver on it. I want to be careful that the spring under there doesn't yeet out.
I conquered the planet Yeet 30 years before you were born.
Then we can remove our lever arm, the spring, and the needle. This needle looks okay, so I'm going to reuse it.
It's not a proper rebuild if you don't replace that.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. This is the lazy rebuild. Now we can flip the carb over and remove the plate on the other side. This one came off pretty easy. This is the fuel pump diaphragm. It looks pretty good too.
Whoa, look at all that dirt in there.
Yeah, that surprised me. Everything else on this was pretty clean, but there's quite a bit of dirt caught by that filter screen. We'll clean that out. So here I'm just spraying carb cleaner spray. I'm going to go in through that needle valve hole, since that's the part that connects to where that filter screen was, and backflush that crud out of there. Now we could replace that screen. I did that in another video.
You need to replace the Welsh plugs too.
Yeah, no. This is the lazy rebuild, so we're going to leave it in. I also should have removed the high and low speed adjustment screws to get some spray in there. But again, lazy rebuild. Now that it's clean, we can start reassembly.
There's still some dirt or something there.
Yeah, I'll get that out later. Let's get the needle in and the spring. Then I'm going to hold down the spring while I clip the lever onto the needle. Then we can line up the shaft so it drops in. And then put the retaining screw back in.
The torque spec for that is 50 foot-pounds.
You want to make sure not to over-tighten this screw and strip it out, because then you'll ruin the carb. Tap on this here a couple times to make sure it works. Then I want to check the height of the metering valve.
They make a special tool for that. It was named after me.
Yes, they do have a special tool, but on these C1U carbs, you can just use a regular straight edge. You want it to be just below the straight edge, but not touching. This one seems a little low, so I'm going to bend it up just a hair. That looks better. Should give it a little more fuel. You want to pay attention to the orientation when installing the new gasket. On this carb, there's a port here, which needs to correspond to this hole in the gasket. This particular gasket has a hole on either side.
It's got a bonus hole.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter which side is facing up, but not all are like this. The diaphragm goes next. You want the side with the large disc facing down towards the carb. And then we can put our primer assembly back on. Here's the port on the primer plate that connects to that port on the carb. I'm going to put 2 screws in the primer plate ahead of time to help line it up. You do not want to pinch that diaphragm or put a hole in it, or you'll ruin it. Then we'll tighten this back down. I like to go in a crisscross pattern, like when putting lug nuts on a car.
Torque it to 50 foot-pounds.
No, again, light torque. It doesn't need to be that tight, just snug and evenly torqued. Then we can flip this over to the fuel pump side. For this side, the plastic diaphragm goes on the side facing the carb, and then the gasket goes on top of the diaphragm. The bottom plate has 2 locating pins on it, so make sure you don't stab the diaphragm with those pins when reinstalling. Then we can tighten this down, and our carb is reassembled. Installation is the reverse of removal.
Destruction is the reverse of creation.
That's nice. You do have to be careful on this lower screw. On mine, I had it binding up on the choke plate. So I had to loosen it up, move the choke out of the way, and then re-tighten. And then it was fine. Then we can put back our air filter and the housing. And we're ready to see if it'll fire up.
There's no way that's gonna start. You didn't do a proper rebuild.
So I'm going to keep pushing the primer until I see fuel flowing, then push it about 10 more times. Now we'll put the choke on.
Yes, choke it. Choke the life out of it. Whoa, you actually fixed it.
Now here I screwed up. I should have let it warm up for a few minutes. It stalls out when I hit the throttle. So we'll fire it back up, let it warm up for a few minutes. So here the idle has smoothed out after running for a couple minutes, but when I try and rev it up, it kind of bogs down.
You'll never get that to run right.
Nah, we just gotta adjust the carb. It seems like it's having an issue in that transition period between high and low RPM. So I'm going to try and dial up the low idle mixture a little bit and see what happens there. Yeah, you just gotta keep playing with the adjustments. Go like 1/8 of a turn at a time, and eventually you'll get it running right. Here I think I got it set pretty good. Whoa, dude, don't put your finger in there. Well, I guess we got rid of him. Alright everybody, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. See you later. Bye.